Pleasure for being on time. Good morning, Dr. Scott Dell here for financial accounting. As I said, please log in to the Zoom accounts. Every class we have will be synchronous. Those that are outside the classroom will be on Zoom, and those inside the classroom will also be on Zoom. Be using the same account, the 608-446-1000 ID, and the password is 2020, which will eventually go to 2021. And if you're in the classroom, I'm asking you to mute your audio, but keep the video on. If you're not in the classroom, obviously you want your audio on and video on so that we can hear you if there are questions or problems. Although you can mute, actually, you can mute the audio until you need to speak, so there's no background noise. Game plan for today. We're going to talk about accounting. Surprise, surprise. The purpose, why you're here and what we're going to be doing. We'll get into the syllabus. We'll be talking about Blackboard. We'll be talking about McGraw-Hill Connect. But I first want to give you an orientation to why you're here. Now, you're probably here to get a degree. You're probably here to start a career, get a job, find opportunities. But my job is to help you build a foundation in your business careers. And a foundation means understanding accounting, understanding business terminology, understanding the language of business, which is accounting, and then be able to read some financial statements. I was just talking to somebody about a week and a half ago, and she said, I have this math phobia, but I'm an accountant. I said, very cool, because you're right. It's not power of math to make you a good accountant. She said somebody once told her that all she needed was 4 functions in math. If she could add, subtract, multiply, and divide, she can do accounting. You don't need calculus, doesn't hurt. You don't need trigonometry, or that's also not bad. Geometry, not really. If you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, you're 90% there. This is a foundation course. We're going to be talking terminology. We'll be talking things like difference between unearned revenue and revenue or earned revenue. Prepaid expenses and expenses that show up on an income statement. By the end of this class, you'll be able to read financial statements. You'll be able to understand financial statements. But to get there, it's going to be a lot of work, but it's worthwhile. Because again, this is a foundation of your business career and you need to understand. You say, wait a minute, I'm in marketing. What do I need to know about accounting? Well, it's always nice to be able to calculate your month-end bonus based on profitability. I get 10% of net income. Cool. What's this depreciation thing? It got bigger. That means my bonus got smaller. That doesn't sound fair. It may or may not be, but you want to understand it. How about if you want to go to your manager and say, I've got this $1 million idea. It's going to take $10,000 to invest. And the manager's going to say, first, is it legal? Good question. But second, we'll say, all right, how are we going to do that? And you need to be able to present in financial terms, here's what it's going to cost, here's the opportunity, here's the investment, here's how we're going to do it, and you need to communicate that. If you can't, the boss is never going to sign off on it. Or a subordinate comes to you as a manager and says, I've got the same $1 million idea. And they have all these numbers, and they throw them at you, and you say, I don't do numbers. Show my controller. Show my chief financial officer. That's not my skill set. That's not my wheelhouse. It is. It better be, because you're a manager and you're making decisions. You're going to have budgets to maintain. You're going to have to understand these numbers and make sense of these numbers. And if you don't, it will really put a crimp on your career. I'm not going to make you all CPAs. What's a CPA? Certified Public Accountant. I'm a CPA. They're typically known for doing taxes, which I don't do. I'm not a tax guy. I did auditing. That's the other arena. And I did consulting. And I do a lot of consulting. What does CPA mean? It means I passed a 4-section test, about a 50% pass rate. I also have at least a year or 2 of experience. And I have a degree with certain courses that I took. That's all it takes to be a CPA. But as I said, I'm not here to make you CPAs, although some of you, I would love to have you as CPAs. But I also want you to be able to talk to your CPA. I want you to be able to communicate with an accountant. You're going to be working with accountants, as I say, the rest of your business career. And if you can't talk the same language, you're going to have a communication gap and things aren't going to go well long term. So you will understand terminology. I don't care if you're operations, human resources, management, if you're marketing, finance, accounting, supply chain, IT. You really need, I mean, how can you be a programmer and program a financial system or accounting system or a dashboard and not understand the terminology associated with accounting and finance going on a dashboard? You can't. So our goal here is to make you well aware of what's going on in the accounting world, but as it relates to other fields too, because you're going to be using this stuff. I'm going to ask you to throw in the chat, and I do this usually every class. It's a form of attendance. I usually ask a survey question, and I'll say, this time I'll say, just type in what year you are, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Just go ahead and type that into the chat. And as I say, it's my method for saying, oh, there you go. I've got Cameron, and then I've got Alexis. Cool. I can see who's been here, and that's just a way, it's an audit trail for me, rather than, let me write down all these names and check the boxes. So we're going to go ahead. Is anybody here not comfortable with Zoom by now? Don't be shy. And by the way, I ask, I'll be a little lenient this class, but from now on, or starting Friday, have cameras on all the time. That way, when I ask a question, you can say, wait a minute, I don't know what you're talking about, and I can see it, rather than I see a name and the name doesn't flash at me. And even if you raise your hand on reactions, I don't always catch it. So please go ahead and show the cameras, video on, and that will be very helpful in this class. So we're going to go ahead and talk more about the syllabus. We'll talk more about Blackboard and the McGraw-Hill Connect. How many of you actually, in show of hands, how many actually have access to the McGraw-Hill textbook already? Okay, a couple, good, excellent. Welcome. It's okay, hard place to find. Zoom instructions are right here. Good to see you again. So, and this is being recorded and it will be available. I'm going to be posting this into Blackboard if anybody needs it, you have access to it. So we will be talking, a couple of you have the Connect and the McGraw-Hill stuff access. By tonight, I would like all of you to have it. And don't worry about budget at this point. I know, easy for me to say, but you get 2 weeks free. So as soon as you go into Blackboard, as soon as you try to start one of the assignments, the initial assignment, it's described in the syllabus, you will be prompted for an access key. And if you say, don't have one of those, but you'll still be able to log in without a credit card, you get 2 weeks of free access. You have the full textbook on screen, electronic version. You have the full access to all the homework assignments, which start being due Friday. You can access it through Blackboard. You don't have to go into McGraw-Hill's site to do it. Blackboard has direct access. I'll talk about the backup. You can access it directly on Connect on the McGraw-Hill site if Blackboard is not working. But most of your quizzes and exams will be on Connect through Blackboard. Most of your homework, except for discussions and written assignments and submitted papers, will be, again, through Connect via Blackboard. So has everybody been on Blackboard already? Anybody not been on Blackboard, see what's going on? Okay. So that should be pretty accessible. And we're going to do a walkthrough and take a look at that stuff. I'm missing one person on the chat. Again, in the chat, please type in your year, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Again, that's my attendance tool. So just type in the chat what year, just acknowledge it here. It will confirm that you're in my class. I appreciate that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share screen and we're going to take a look at the syllabus. So I emailed the syllabus to you, so you should have a copy of it. So even if you do not have Blackboard access yet or haven't been to Blackboard, you should be able to see the syllabus, and there are clickable links in the syllabus to access some things. Obviously, we have class here. Let me talk about what hybrid means. And I already had a question this morning. When you come, do you have to come to class? Short answer is you don't have to physically be here in the classroom Monday or Wednesday. You can be 100% virtual if you choose. I have the dean's permission to do that. I've had people that were going on quarantine or that had obligations or commuting challenges. And to make it easy, as long as you can Zoom in and can participate and engage, you're good to go. I sent out the schedule. Obviously, you're here. You're in the Wednesday section. Glad you're here. And then there's a Monday section. Those, I'll be here too. So if it helps for being in class, that's great. If you feel comfortable not being here, I have no qualms and you are free, but I do ask your full participation, your full attention. By the way, I do cheat. The other thing that comes handy when I can see your face, I can't always detect if you're checking email, but at least I can tell you're somewhat engaged rather than having one. So please make sure the cameras are on. That's something that it gives me signs that you're understanding what's going on when you're engaged. Cameras on will be required. Credits, prerequisites. Let me take a quick survey. Excel skills. How many say, I'm okay with Excel? Okay, great. I mean, you can type it in, do some formulas, get some numbers, spit some things out, do some analysis. We're going to be doing some Excel stuff. On Fridays, Monday and Wednesday are that staggered class day. Fridays are a lab day. It's still a class period. We'll be meeting, but it'll be 100% online. So we will not be in the classroom at all on Fridays, but we will be doing class sessions. When I say lab day, there's usually some computer videos that I share and some other exercises and activities we do. Excel as well as accounting to bone up on some of those skills. Those are things that we'll be using and doing. The Zoom address is here for all classes and for all meetings, all activities. And it also happens to ring on this phone. If you dial 608-446-1000, you found me. You'll see on the syllabus, phone number, in bold, cell, 24/7. And I do mean it. If you tried calling me at 2:30 in the morning, Sunday night, Monday morning, you would have got me. But normally I'll be sleeping, and normally this phone's in another room. It's not in my bedroom. It's charging in a different place. So if you call and I'm up and I'm doing something and I can talk, I'll answer. I've actually had students say, Dr. Scott, I was hoping to get your voicemail. I said, great, I'll hang up, call me back. He said, no, we'll talk to you. So and that's okay. If I'm up, I'll answer. If I can't answer, if you call me while I'm in class right now, I'll see that you're ringing. I'm obviously not going to answer it. I'm pretty good on responding to phone calls. I'm not that good on text. 24 hours, I'll get back to you on text. Although if you're going to miss a class right away, text is good. Email, I'm on constant. Typically, text will be a 24-hour. Even phone calls, 24-hour. Text, emails will probably be 2 hours. Even though I say 24 hours, I'm pretty responsive on the email side. I'm in constantly. So the best way to get a hold of me is through email. It's also a good audit trail. Because you ask me a question, I can respond. And then it doesn't go to he said, she said. It goes to, this is what you took, this is what you wrote. This is how I responded. This is what I committed to. And you'll have that response directly. Emails are a great tool for that. And there's a LinkedIn address. We have a LinkedIn assignment we'll talk more about. If you have problem with Connect, there's an 800 number for Connect. And that's direct support. If you have additional problems, get a hold of me. Anything I can do to help you. And I was saying, if you scroll down a little bit, there's an intro, some background information. And then we've got our mission and goals. I'm going to do a roundtable. I'll have each one of you read one of the goals of our School of Business. And we'll just have a little chat about that. Because you are business professionals. And I'm a business professional. I expect to be treated like one, and you deserve to be treated like one as well. So I will treat you, and hopefully it's mutual, and I will earn that respect. But the opportunity to communicate is important, and to have that exchange as a professional. So you can see the goals of the School of Business right now. Who would like to read the first goal? Our students. Somebody up the place on that. Go for it.
Our students will conceptual and analytical skills to analyze and solve many
State your name first when you do that. I didn't say that.
Cameron.
Cameron, thank you, Cameron. Okay, and the folks at home are off the hook right now, but I will be calling on folks at home eventually. Right now, we're just doing it in the class. So analytical skills, critical thinking skills. You need to think. You want to succeed, you got to think. Let's go around number 2. Take it away. Really? Communications is key. If you write a paper and the grammar is lousy, it's a reflection of you. If you're speaking and you're using slang and terminology that may or may not be appropriate, that's a reflection of you. Are you a business professional? I hope so. That means communication needs to be professional. By the way, emails and texting are two different modalities, and there's a different technique in each, right? You really need to communicate in a manner that's effective, but proper to do so. Number 3, take it away.
Thank you. My students would have understanding of and you got it right.
Ethics. It's never too early. No, you did fine. Never too early to talk about ethics. A friend of mine, just talking to you last week, she has a daughter who has COVID, and her employer is requiring her to show up at work, or she's going to be fired. Now, I don't know the legalities of that, but I really don't know if I want to work for a company like that. Now, I have the luxury of saying that, and she's dependent on the paycheck. But you got it's a balance. It comes in accounting too. What's going to happen if the controller, and you're doing some accounting, and they say, you know that expense you put in December, can you put that in January? Don't submit that right now. We need to bump up the income statement, show a little more profit, because we got the banks breathing down our throats, and we got the stockholders breathing down the other side. We need to show up that we're doing okay. That's a lie. And once you lie, try restoring trust is a bear. It's tough. I have an ex-wife. I've been remarried 25 years now, but my ex-wife, I want trust. All right, and it's been a long time. But the fact is, I don't, you burn bridges, and reputations carry with you. Not everybody who lies goes to jail, but some financial folks, white-collar crimes, go to jail. Even the whistleblowers. I'll talk about a friend of mine, Health Cell, Weston Smith. He went to jail, but he was a whistleblower. He did time. The CEO didn't do any time. Off the hook. Enron, you probably heard some stories too. We'll talk more about the fraud stuff later. But you get the idea that ethics is crucial and important, and you have your own personal values and ethics. And if you violate those, it's a reflection. So be real careful anytime you're being asked to do something that doesn't feel right. It's called the smell test. If it doesn't smell right, it doesn't taste right, yeah, there's something here you got to give some attention to. Number 4, take it away. We are in a global environment. This phone has probably parts from 12 countries. As a matter of fact, this is a Huawei phone. If you've ever heard Huawei from China, they're the folks that are doing the 5G that's being banned, and they think they have encryption. I think they can hear all my conversations. I hope they enjoy them, whatever they do. But anyways, it's a global economy. We're all plugged in. We're in this together. My clothes come from, every piece of clothing comes from a different country, I'm sure. And that's the global economy. That's what we're interacting. That's what we're doing. No matter how much we try to bring it home, manufacture local, buy local, those are all good philosophies. We're still globally tied in. Next, please. Jeremiah? Creativity. You say creative accounting? Isn't that an oxymoron? Isn't that something we want to stay away from? Actually not. We're talking about creative solutions, because you might have accounting problems. Maybe we're trying to figure out how to make payroll next week. I've had that problem in one of my businesses. I was talking to the bank who said, I know we told you we were going to back up, give you some float for payroll, but we changed our mind. I had to delay payroll a week and a half for my employees and scramble to find monies from some alternative sources. About 75 employees. And then had to make good on anybody that had problems or challenges because we didn't get a paycheck. But the bank pulled the rug out from under us. And that was a surprise to me, but we had to roll with it and we survived it. So you got to be careful and solve situations and problems that crop up. And they do. There will always be problems. And then the last item. Name and
Our students will know the core concepts of any business discipline: accounting, business economics, finance, management, and information systems, among others.
Accounting is not a silo. It may feel like it, you're taking an accounting class, but accounting is integrated with other aspects of business and environments: finance, management, marketing. The tools that you learn in accounting are applicable and usable in the other areas. So be careful of getting locked into, yep, I got my accounting silo done, and now I'm going to go to my finance, and then I'm going to go over to my marketing, and then I go to my operations and my supply chain, my IT. Yeah, those are disciplines we all learn, but they interact. How effective of a programmer would you be if you're programming an accounting system, making a dashboard that people can measure, like a car dashboard, how we're doing financially, and you don't understand the financial terms? How are you in marketing if you're going talking to your customer who says, here's what I need because here's a reflection of how it costs, how it impacts my cycle, my operating cycle, or payment terms. Can I get 30-day payment terms instead of 15? Or GM says, I'll give you 6-month payment terms. I don't care what you want to do. You want to do business with me? I'll pay you in 6 months. Or Sony that says, I'll sell you TVs, but you don't have to pay me for 2 years, Best Buy. Which is why Best Buy can give you 2 years free financing, because they get 2 years free financing. No skin off their nose. Okay. So we're integrated here. We have multiple facets of business, and we're here to build a solid foundation. You'll probably see a quiz on the syllabus. What's about a 14-page syllabus, 13-page syllabus? You'll see a quiz on the syllabus, maybe Friday, maybe next week. A couple of questions I'll throw out. But, so therefore I expect you to read it and question it. If you have any thoughts, any comments, anything you don't understand. This is a contract. I mean, how many of you accept, you don't get the software or you go online and say, accept the terms of this agreement, click. How many actually read those agreements? Or have you ever read those agreements? I occasionally do, but 95% of the time I click through it too. I'm too busy. Click, okay, whatever you say. Hopefully this syllabus is a little bit different. You take it to heart. Because there's some good stuff in there that will affect your grade. That's always good to know. Affects your paycheck, you're gonna read that terms of service. If it affects your grade, you wanna know things. And this is my contract with you. This is my obligation to perform. I'm committing, and hopefully you're committing as well. Course description, course objectives, what we're gonna cover. We'll cover GAAP, the language of business. We'll talk about cash flows, retained earnings, the accounting equation, assets equals liabilities plus equity. I'm not gonna worry about that right now. We'll get more into that Friday. Global economy, communication skills. I am going to say, but on completion of this course, and I just told you what you'd be able to do, let's start again. Go ahead and take the first, number 1, identify.
David, identify and describe the major components, format, and limitations of the primary financial statements. Students will also understand their preparation and be able to explain their relationship among them.
So financial statements, what they look like, how they integrate, how to read them, how to understand them. You will understand financial statements when you get out of it. If you complete the class. When you complete the class, I should be more optimistic than that. Number 2, please.
Alexis, understand how generally accepted accounting principles guide the recognition of business activities and indicate how the impact is captured and reflected in financial statements.
We're talking about GAAP, G-A-A-P. That's not the gap in your knowledge, but what I know and what you know. It's generally accepted accounting principles. How do we handle a transaction? How long is this building going to last? How long is this desktop going to last? 10-year depreciation, 20-year depreciation, or do we write it off in the year, the expense of the year that we buy it? Okay. Oh, I've got pens and pencils that last me 2 years, or trash cans that last me 5 years. There are some standards that accountants use to determine how they record things in the books. We'll talk about those standards. Number 3, go back to take it away. Number 3, please.
Reading understanding of these financial statements with respect to components of this work and
Thank you. So yes, you'll understand the financial statements. I can't throw chalk anymore. Good old days, I could throw chalk. So we have financial statements that you'll understand, you'll be able to read, you'll be able to handle. Bottom line, the textbook online is about $95. Includes all the homework assignments. It's from McGraw-Hill. It includes a whole bunch of tools that will help you learn as well. Videos, direct access. You can get the hard copy too. I prefer, I think there's a 3-room bound edition. It's $137, $140. But you will have full access as soon as you register, which is hopefully by tonight when you go online. And go to Blackboard, enter the content. This just in red tells you getting in there. If you, any exercise you try to perform through Blackboard will get you into the system. For emergency use, sometimes Blackboard is down. I was stuck for a day and a half this weekend. I'm not able to get into Blackboard. My login was compromised. But I was able to get into McGraw-Hill Connect. You can go directly to Connect from here. I sent you everybody should have a copy of the, if you can't get the Blackboard, you still have a copy of the syllabus that I sent you. And in that syllabus are these 3 direct links for the classes. So you are able to access Connect, do the homework. It won't upgrade the grading in Blackboard, but I don't even use the Blackboard grading myself, other than discussions. I use Connect grading and I put it on a spreadsheet. So, and I give everybody midterm grades. I don't just give the failing or the passing. I give everybody. This just talks a little bit more about Connect, using Connect, teaching learning style, homework, all the good stuff. All right. Expectations, this is our contract. Again, you're a professional, I'm a professional. We'll leave it at that. Attendance policy. If you're out of touch for more than 7 days, not doing homework, not reaching out, not showing up at class, you're at risk of failing without communication. It doesn't take much to send an email. If you're in a coma, I understand. I'm not going to be pressing you to that point. But if you get a flat tire, I understand. I don't expect you to say, oh, I got a flat tire. Let me text right away. Let me get the flat fixed and tell me after class that I had a flat tire. But within a couple hours, you should be able to communicate with me. If you know you're going to miss class, let me know. When I give quizzes, most of my quizzes are pop quizzes. They're unannounced. Just be ready when you come to class. And you will be able to grow from there and be able to understand what we're doing. But if I don't know you're not here, what reason you're not here, there's no makeup. If you say, I have a doctor's appointment, I'm going to be out on Wednesday, or off Zoom. That's okay. I do a pop quiz on Wednesday, you'll have till the next class to make it up. But if you just no show on Wednesday and I give a quiz, I'm sorry. Unless there is a legitimate reason, which I'm not a stickler here. I don't need doctor's notes, but I do need legitimacy. And I don't need you to be sick 3 times. And I have 3 moms that pass away and 2 dads. So please be honest, be ethical, but communicate. You're going to be expected in the working world to communicate. You can't just not show up at work. I don't expect you to not show up at class without some kind of communication, please. Expectations, again, you can read through this. Credit hours, academic honesty, goes without saying. Academic support. If you need help, we have resources. There are accounting tutors for this class. But get it early if you start falling behind. If you can survive the first 3 to 4 weeks of this class, you'll fly. It gets easier. It gets less work, actually. But the first 3 weeks are better. And there's going to be a lot of foundation, because this is all new material. I mean, I've been doing this for a while. But for most of you, you've never seen this stuff before, or even if you have, it's a distant memory or not real familiar. Okay. Other considerations, disclaimer, topical outline. Let's look at the grading. It seems to be near and dear to all our hearts. 12.5% quizzes, 12.5% the exams, chapter exams. And there'll be like 3 to 4 or 5 chapters, up to 3 exams I give, and probably 10 or 11 quizzes. There'll be a final exam. You need to have a minimum 50% score on your interim exams and separately on the cumulative final. If you can't get 50% on the final, there's something missing. I didn't do my job, or you didn't do your job, or both. But I mean, you could be flying and then just bomb the final. That means you didn't understand something. And if there's a reason for that, we can talk about it. Homework, connect, discussions, class participation, 25%. That means Zoom participation as well. Like I said, my Zoom participants remote are off the hook today. Direct participation other than typing in your major, so I know you're here. But participation is questions, interactions, anything else that clarifies things. By the way, when I have a pop quiz, I have no problem you saying, can you go over this before our quiz? Didn't understand it. And even if that's what my quiz is directly on, I'll go over it. I won't go the whole class explaining things and you won't have a quiz. It won't be that off the hook. But I'm happy to review anything because again, most of the stuff is going to be new to you. And some of the concepts are not natural. Debits and credits are not natural. I will grant you that. Reading a balance sheet, assets, liabilities are not natural. But it becomes natural the more you practice it. Annual report assignment, back to communication. There's a written element and an oral element. Quick question, how many are familiar with Grammarly? Show of hands. Okay. I require on the final paper that you use Grammarly. You will be docked a letter grade if you don't use it. And the reason, it's pretty obvious. I can tell that you didn't use it because you got bad grammar. Grammarly is actually pretty good at catching. It's good for actually for your other classes too. So being able to communicate, draft a paper, and get the English down right. Now, Grammarly is not foolproof, neither is Microsoft Word, but it's just one of the tools in your toolbox that's pretty handy to have. As a matter of fact, when I send emails to our dean or to the president of the school, I run those emails through Grammarly. I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want to have missing grammar, bad typos or other things. Again, it's not foolproof, but it catches most things. And I'm a big proponent, by the way, there's 5% of your grade is on a LinkedIn assignment. And I'll get to give you more details as we need to go. And I'm a big fan of extra credit. Up to 10 points can be added to your final grade. If you get an 82 in the class, you'll have a 92. You go from B minus to an A. If you have a 68 in the class, you go to a 78 in the class. You go to a C plus. But what does extra credit mean? It means you did something above and beyond. It means you also presented to your classmates for 2 or 3 minutes. It also means you did a write-up, 2 or 3 paragraphs. If you do all those, you get an A on the assignment. And some are 10-point boosts, some are 5-point boosts, some are 2-point boosts, some are 1-point boosts. But that will give you up to 10 additional extra credit points added to the final grade. You heard that right. One of the things I'm a big fan of, has anybody ever here heard of something called Toastmasters? Cool, powerful group. This is an immediate bump, but usually 5 to 10 points depending on engagement. You're doing 2 meetings a month, 8 meetings, you do 2 speeches, you do some other things. I'm a fan. I started a Toastmasters chapter at my last school, 1/3 students, 2/3 community. People got to network. One of the vice presidents of our local insurance society insurance hired Toastmaster students because they got to know them, got to hear them speaking, got introduced to them at these meetings, which are all virtual now, and then hired them. 80% of jobs are word of mouth networking connections. Let me repeat that. 80% of jobs that are found are through networking, word of mouth, direct communications. 20% are from these applicant tracking systems. You know, it's the spray and pray approach. Oh, there's a job opening, and there's another one. Let me throw my resume into 20 or 30 of these jobs. Odds are against you when you spray and pray. 200 applications, 4 people get interviewed. That's 2%. Out of the 4 people, 1 gets hired. That's a 0.5%. Those aren't good odds. Go buy a lottery ticket. And actually, that's better odds than a lottery ticket, but that's okay. You get the idea though. You want to be networking, you want to be communicating, you want to be enhancing. And this is one way to present yourself in a cogent form and be confident when you speak to people. Because you are how you communicate. If you come to an interview and you're saying ahs, and kind of sitting back, that's not going to go well when they want to hire somebody. That's a little more communicative, a little more aggressive, a little more interested, a little more engaged. Most people get hired. You do your homework, you do your due diligence before you go in the interview. So, and I'll share, let's see, toastmasters.org, actually put a little, there it is, www.toastmasters.org. If you're interested, that's the site I was. Also, if you're interested today, Accounting and Finance Club, we've got a meeting the second Thursday of every month. We're doing a happy hour. We're going to have guests come. We're going to have activities planned. Last time we had a speaker from the South Carolina Association of CPAs, the CEO came. I did a presentation on LinkedIn. So today at 6 p.m. on the same Zoom account that you're on right now, you're welcome to participate. Coming to those meetings at various degrees of extra credit points will be allowed. You went to 1, 2, 3, 4. You become an officer. That's usually a 5-point bump in your grades. So you don't have to be an accountant to come to a finance and accounting club meeting either. Or AFC, we call it, Accounting and Finance Club. Why? If you're marketing, actually, if you apply for a marketing job and you have an accounting officer role, like I'm membership chair, or I'm a chief CIO, chief information officer, or I'm a CFO, chief financial officer, or a VP or a president or whatever. You think that's a good reflection when you interview? Gives you something to talk about? So, what are we doing with the Accounting and Finance Club? Hey, I'm in marketing, but I need to understand accounting. My customers need to understand accounting. I need to be able to communicate with numbers and with concepts. And to do that, I got more involved. I like to get engaged in things. I like to be active. That's cool. That's powerful. As a matter of fact, when I interview people, and I've interviewed thousands, resumes, LinkedIn profiles, reviewed things, I've had a bunch of companies, I want to find something different on your resume. You've all got a GPA, congratulations. And you all got a major, that's great. And you're all graduating, that's cool. But what makes you different from the other 200 people that applied for this job? Oh, you were in Toastmasters. Tell me about that. You were in Model United Nations. By the way, we have a Model UN program here that's very cool. Something different, global perspectives. I did some traveling. I was in France. I went to Iran. I went over to China or Japan, whatever activity that you participated, anything on your resume or LinkedIn profile is fair game. And you would sure talk about those activities that you have fun in trying to detail what you learned in your accounting class. I think what you learn in accounting class can be fun too. That's a personal opinion. Okay, so up to 10 points, final grade. And the breakdown here by date, your master plan is on Blackboard. This is a relative reference. There are some things coming up. I'm presenting at the Chamber of Commerce. Friday, I'm speaking at an international coaching conference. There's some things on here. If it's black and in italics, it's good for extra credit. So, but just because it's not here doesn't mean it's not good for extra credit. If you have something in mind, talk to me about it. And as you read the syllabus, you might get some more ideas. Let me open the floor up to any questions, either questions from folks at home or questions here. We've got about 10, 12 minutes more. I'm going to go through Blackboard, get you oriented, make sure we're all on the same page, and then set you free. Anything on your mind? How many of you have been on Blackboard already? Cool. Good job. Well done. Appreciate that. So, welcome and read first. Please read this first. There's our Zoom access. There's a welcome. And there's my 5-minute background. This gives you a personal touch. Who the heck is Dr. Scott? You're going to give some background on yourself as part of the first discussion assignment. So that was a welcome read first, and hopefully you read that and you feel welcome. Now we'll go to discussion board. There's a just ask area. I will monitor that if you have any more technical questions or topic questions. Anything about the course, anything that's going on, yes, you'll probably email me anyways, but chances are your classmates will have similar questions. And with those questions, please feel free to post them here. Again, there's not a trail, but it gives benefit for everybody else. And then the first discussion post is due Friday, this Friday, as is some homework, some McGraw-Hill Connect homework. I'm going to ask you to post a favorite video, a YouTube video. I'm also, by Sunday, you're going to respond to 2 of your classmates. And they might have some similar interests. I call each of you in the relationship to each other your FFAs. Some of you have heard of Future Farmers of America. I come from Wisconsin, 30 years, but that's not what FFA means here. FFA to me is your future fellow alumni. Huh? Future fellow alumni. That means when you all graduate, you'll be alumni. We have an alumni group on LinkedIn. I was just in a day ago, I posted about my conference that I'm presenting at. But as fellow alumni, one of you is going to be in the car business, might own a dealership or sell cars. One of you might be in insurance. One of you might be in human resources. One of you might be in medical arena, hospitals, medical services. Another might be in website or technology. And you got an issue or problem, you want to be able to pick up the phone, in my day, or email them and contact them and say, hey, I just had triplets. I probably need some insurance. Or my 2-door car is not going to handle it anymore. I need a 4-door, maybe 6-door. How about those minivan things? Whatever it is, your future fellow alumni, your classmates, get to know them now. So hopefully when you read about them and say, oh, I love to travel too. Or I'm a foodie. I love to go out for Chinese or Indian or whatever. Or I have some military background, got some experience. Great, we can talk some stories. So those are the kind of things you want to get to know your classmates. And when you get to know them, it's called KLT, know, like, and trust. That's a big thing in the world of online doing business. And career goals, background information, post. Second discussion the week after. This should be a quickie. Annual reports. I'm going to ask that you get hard copies of annual reports. And here's some samples. Sherman-Williams, Macy's, Kimberly-Clark, Kraft-Heinz, General Mills. Request some reports and get the hard copies. Now, when you go to that site, you'll be able to get electronic copies for almost all of them. About a quarter to a third of them will have hardcover copies. I want you to get hardcover copies because I want you to be able to take a report, and when I'm asking you something, you can whip it out. There's L brands and say, oh, what are you looking for? Okay, turn to what page? Okay, find note number 1, find the financials, find the balance sheet. Oh, why does it not call a balance sheet? It's called a statement of financial position in my report. Well, does it have assets and liabilities and equity? Like, it's a balance sheet. Just have funky names. They have different names for different things, just so the accountants can make the big bucks, I think. That's why we used all kinds of terminology to describe the same thing. But I want you to understand, you know, if it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck, must be a duck. If it has assets, liabilities, equity, it's a balance sheet. It has revenues and expenses, it's an income statement. I don't care how you cut it. I don't care if you call it a statement of operations, statement of revenue expenses, consolidated income statement. Those are identical if they have revenues and expenses. Terminology will be there and different, but if you understand the concepts, you're ahead of the game. Bunch of assignments, usually weekly. LinkedIn is going to be an assignment based up here. Annual reports discussed here. And then there's extra credit. So our extra credit. That's the extra credit one, yep. Join a professional association. We'll talk more about those. Okay, so you get the idea of what we're trying to do here. And you can see what we're doing in the discussions. Then we have content. Under content, first assignment, biographical data sheet. Due by midnight in a week and a half. Actually, 1 week from now. 27th, Wednesday. Fill it out, submit it here online. Just, you know, I prefer to be, I'm Matthew, but I prefer to be called Matt. Cool. And then here's the homework. You're going to go in and you're going to say, wait a minute, I go into chapter 1, counting basics, my homework, what does it do here? Well, I've got orientation, smart book, overview videos. Those are all due January 22nd. Wow. And then Monday night, need to know videos, homework. And then Wednesday, I've got more homework, counting analysis. And then I got a quiz on Friday. Now that quiz online is different from the quiz I might give in class. You might have two quizzes on a chapter. But all of this can be done at home. All of this can be done online. All of this is accessible to you. And then grading. The whole idea of grading for me, I keep a spreadsheet for grades. I use Connect. I will download a spreadsheet. Connect grades. The grades on your homework will be updated in Blackboard periodically. I have to do a manual process. I do it usually weekly. It upgrades the grades in your homework. I mean, you can see your grades in your homework anytime. You can also contact me saying, well, how am I doing? Well, you know what you did on your homework. You know what you did on your quizzes. You know what you did on your test. My midterm grade, I'll probably take 40% of quizzes, 40% of tests, and I'll do 20% of your homework. That's the way I break it down, because there's some assignments you will not have done yet. The annual report won't be done. LinkedIn won't be done. Whatever's not done, I'm not going to grade, obviously, but the midterm grade will reflect that's the breakdown I use. But I want you to gauge how you're doing, but monitor it. Keep aware of it. And again, all those extra credit assignments do need to be presented. Nothing fancy. And the reason I want you to present those is you're going to share things you learned in these extra credit activities that your classmates will not have experienced. You did this Toastmaster stuff, and now you feel confident. You got to meet somebody, you got to network, you got hired, you got an internship from this experience. That might motivate one of you FFAs, future fellow alumni, to do the same thing. Well, yeah, maybe I should try that. Or it may be, I had a lousy experience. You don't want to bother with this thing. And that's also important to know. The good, the bad, the ugly. And then you do a write-up. I need to see that you can write in English. And hopefully, Grammarly, anything you submit to me probably should be Grammarly. You can use it on your resumes, by the way. You can use it on your LinkedIn profile. You create a PDF from your LinkedIn profile, it's resume, and you can run it through, and it'll give you insights and ideas. So that's the nature of using some of these tools. And again, these are tools for life. As is accounting is your personal and professional growth and direction and career. It's tools for life that we're promoting here. So I'm going to go back and turn over the floor. Any other questions at this point? I will say the calendar, it has daylight savings times, it has Ben and Boz we'll be talking about on Friday. All my videos that are found in Blackboard are actually on my YouTube channel, but they're listed in the syllabus here. In addition, I'll give you a tip. I would suggest you print out a PowerPoint presentation every time we do a new chapter. Take notes on that PowerPoint presentation. Things that you read, things that we talk about in class. I'm not a PowerPoint guy specific. You'll find when I teach, I'll do some lectures, and then I'll use PowerPoint as backup. Maybe I forgot something, or maybe it'll just reinforce something that I talked about. And if I tell it to you 3 different ways, maybe your classmates tell it to you another way or 2, it'll make some more sense. It'll be that much more powerful for you. So the links to those are here. Annual report project is detailed here. And the last thing I'll talk about, and then I'll set you free, not only Grammarly, you say, wait a minute, there's a grammar explanation in my accounting syllabus? Effect and effect, there, and there. Irregardless is not a word. Fewer or less, who and whom, which and that. Then and then. By the way, this one I put in here, lose and loose. I hate to tell you how many people in papers that have been submitted to me said they meant to use the word loose and they use the word lose. Okay? So a loose fitting is not a lose fitting. Lose is something that's bye-bye and you can't find it. So these are some things that, and we all make these mistakes, but this is not bad reading, and there's some other stuff to print out. It's going to help you, not just in English class, but in your careers, in your communications. Because if you send an email and you're applying for a job and you screw up some of these wording things, your resume gets thrown out. Your cover letter gets thrown out. It's a reflection of you. if you can professionally impress, have cogent thoughts, put it together, communicate well, you're ahead of the game. The first thing I do, even when we were interviewing here for faculty positions, when in other my businesses, just literally 2 days ago, on Monday, one of my businesses, my partner in North Carolina, he says, I found the perfect person that's going to help me develop this website development stuff. Very organized, smart. I said, great, let's go on LinkedIn and find out. Oh, cool, they got a 2-year degree in culinary arts. They worked in food service. They got a ServSafe certification. Cool. What does that mean? They know how to use a website? Oh, they do customer service stuff. Oh, they've done assistant stuff in an office. Does that mean they can develop a website? They said they can on Fiverr or Upwork, whatever he was looking at. And he's like, well, that's not maybe our ideal candidate. But LinkedIn's my go-to. I will look at your LinkedIn accounts religiously. And I will find out about you. And so will future employers. 95% of HR professionals and employers will look at your LinkedIn profile. Okay, that means 5% won't. Do you think that you're going to be in the 95% or the 5%? You want to risk it? On that note, I will thank you for your time. Any questions before we part company today? Peanut gallery, home, office, classroom? Show of hands, this stuff making sense? We're on the same page. Cool. Thank you. Be well. Stay safe.